gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvatyata om gati gati parasamgati bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvatyata. Okay, before we start, any questions? Any questions from the group discussion or? Yes.
Who composed the four seals?
Okay, so basically this is what the Buddha taught, Buddha himself. And then there are so many versions, or with the third one, that everything is empty, everything is the nature of empty and selflessness. So sometimes it is everything is the nature of selflessness instead of emptiness. So there are multiple versions, slightly different from each other, but overall speaking, this is the four seals. Yeah, taught by Buddha himself. Sutra. Yes. In fact, there is the teacher from Varanasi who did a good research on this. As to he extracted the teaching on this particular the four seals from the different sutras. He picked up all this and he compiled one the research on this. Yeah, slight variations there, but overall this is the four seals. Yes.
In the four immeasurable, what is the difference between the happiness of the first one and the third one?
What's the difference between the immeasurable loving kindness and immeasurable joy? The first one is immeasurable loving kindness. Third one is immeasurable joy. The first one is where you see the beings are deprived of happiness, and then you want them to have happiness. Third one is that you see the beings have happiness, and that they are not separated from the happiness.
Oh, you wish that they will not be separated from happiness?
Yes, this is number 3.
So the first one is the temporary happiness?
Not temporary. The first one is that they are not having happiness. Then you wish that they have happiness. Whether temporary, whether ultimate, whatever. Right? Happiness is something everybody wants. So where they are deprived of happiness, they're deprived. So you wish that they have happiness. One. Number 2, they already have happiness, immeasurable joy. They already have happiness, and then you feel the joy that they don't separate from this happiness. This is the immeasurable joy. This is the difference. Yes.
But yesterday the reasoning for we learned that the reasoning for not being afraid, or why this understanding is the release of fear, is like waking from a dream when you realize that it's not real. So we were all relaxed. And then we found out a minute later that because of dependent arising, the car can still run me down. So I should be careful or not be afraid. So is it just something I need to think about and come to understand how come on one hand it's it's not real, don't be afraid. On the other hand, hey, the tiger can bite you, run away. It seems that we contradicted the first reasoning.
Very good, very good. Okay, this is a very good point. Okay, for this, what we have to study is the ultimate analysis and conventional analysis. We have to study this today. And then we have to study the entities and isolates, negative phenomena and positive phenomena. So this is what we're going to study today, right? So once you study this, then this problem will be resolved. Okay, say, okay, to give you very quick overview of answer to this question is that the one, that self-grasping ignorance, how the self-grasping ignorance harms us is in two ways. One, as the initial trigger of all the chain of the causation to a suffering. Initial trigger of all the chain of the causes to a suffering. For example, ignorance, self-grasping ignorance, then gives rise to afflictions, then gives rise to karmas, then miseries. Okay, this is how it was initially triggered by the self-grasping ignorance. One. Number two is that the immediate, this is long run, and the number two is the immediate pain that we feel. For example, tiger jumps at us and we feel the fear, pain and so forth. This is because we see the tiger, we see our pain, we see the tiger as objectively real, we see our pain as objectively real. Whereas, if you see that the tiger is not objectively real, that our pain is also not real, even if the tiger jumps with the pain is not objectively real, we will not feel the pain. We will not feel the pain. Now, the point is that we are affected by the tiger's jump. We are affected by the tiger's jump. So this is for this reason. One, that our body is so weak that the tiger can affect us. So why our body is so weak? Because of the contaminant karmas. Why contaminant karmas? Because of the afflictions. Why the afflictions? Because of the ignorance. You track back, so this is because of the ignorance. So the arrow has already been shot from the past because of the ignorance, so we are being affected. So this way, self-grasping ignorance is so vicious. One. Number two, now our body is going to be affected, but our mind, whether it's going to be affected or not affected, is going to be determined by the state of mind that you have now. So if this mind that you have, if it is a self-grasping ignorance, then automatically it will feel the pain. If the self-grasping ignorance, then you will not feel the pain. Even though the tiger jumps, mauls you, but you will not feel the pain. Your mind is not affected by the tiger. Number two. Then more importantly, what we're going to study, ultimate analysis and conventional analysis. It is like say you and your sister, let's say. Your sister is fallen asleep and your sister is dreaming, and from the body language you will see that she's struggling, that she must be dreaming of a ghost chasing her or a tiger chasing her. And so for your sister, this whole world there, she sees this as where the tiger is attacking her. For you, in the same place, you don't see the tiger attacking her, right? So there are two different perceptions taking place. One perception with respect to the ignorance of your sister, and one perception taking place with respect to you, not affected by the ignorance. Two. So in the same place, two different perceptions taking place. You getting it? So with respect to your sister's perception, she's being attacked by the tiger. With respect to you, she's not attacked by the tiger. As long as she remains the dream, she'll be affected by the tiger. The moment she wakes up, the tiger will not affect her, because the tiger is... So now, we are still in the dream. So the tiger attacking us and actually creating pain on us, this is just a part of the dream. We have not yet woken up. If you have woken up fully meaning, say Buddhahood, keep that far away. Let's say even if you are woken up to the level of the arahats, when you become arahat, when you become arahat, and in this meditation, deep meditation, which is known as the diamond-like meditative equipoise. Diamond-like meditative equipoise. In this meditation, nobody can stir your meditation. Nobody, except for the Buddha snap. Except for the Buddha snap, nobody can disturb your meditation. Say, tiger may maul you, right? But your mind will never arise from the meditation unless you voluntarily arise from it. So there are two things happening. One is that from the point of view of the dream, what is in the dream, you see everything is so real. You come out, everything is not real. So it is a perspective. So on this basis, what we're going to study, yesterday we came across what is known as the two truths. Two truths, which we're going to study today also. Two truths. So how we see, for example, let's say one example that we give is, say, Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash, which is so pure, so holy and so beautiful, and we all go there, and half of us we put on very dirty glass, and half of us we put on very clean glasses. Yeah. So we go there and then we expect that it's so clean. And those of us who put on the dirty glass, we say it's not clean, it's very dirty. Right? And others who put on very clean glasses, you see that is very clean, it's so pure Mount Kailash. And others will see it's very dirty Mount Kailash. You getting it? So we are looking at the same object. We are looking at the same object, but we see two different objects. One is very clean Mount Kailash, other one very dirty Mount Kailash. So the dirtiness is not because of Mount Kailash there, it is because of the dirtiness of our own lenses. Likewise, we look at the world, the way the person looks at Mount Kailash through the dirty lens. We look at the world through the dirty lens of our own mind. Our mind is defined by the afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. So through this dirty mind we look at it, and then we see tigers and all these things. Right? So in a way so this is what we have not yet studied. We're going to study now. We are looking at things from one perspective. From this perspective, we are creating a dream. In the dream, you are in the dream, the tiger and everything in the dream will affect you. Yeah, Tamar?
So what about our biology, our body? We are hurt, we have a nervous system. If I'm enlightened, but this tiger attacks me, my body still has feelings.
The body will be affected. Okay, let's say the feelings, it would be very good if you can learn the Buddhist psychology. It teaches you about the different kinds of the mind. What we see is a very gross one. For example, say let's say cheese. How many kinds of cheese are there? So many kinds are there. When I was young, I thought cheese is cheese. Only one. Now coming to the West, Israel also, in the West, there are hundreds of different kinds of cheese are there. And then I came to learn that even wine, there are so many kinds. Right? So therefore we see likewise our mind, even more variations. Even more variations. Some are kind, some are intelligent, not kind. Some are intelligent and some are not sensitive to others. Some are very sensitive to others but less courageous. Some are very courageous, daring, but less foresighted. Some are very foresighted but no energy. Right? Thinking, there are so many various kinds are there thinking. So the psychology of the mind, there are two kinds. One which is sensory, which directly depends on the senses, body. the body, eyes, nose, tongue, ear, body, and the other which is mental. For example, when you fall asleep or when you think of your mother Tel Aviv, so this is not the senses. When you see the flower now, this is sense consciousness. And then when you feel the cold, this is the sense. When you remember if you recollection of your childhood, the experience of the heat, experience of cold, that is mental. It's not mental consciousness. It's not a sensory, because you are not feeling it now. So there are two states. What really determines who Tamar is, it's not the senses. It's the mental consciousness. So the senses wise, right? You are given good food and the AC on, everything. Suddenly you hear very, very tragic news. Your mind will not be happy, right? So although the sensory, hearing music, very pleasant music, watching a very good scenario be seen, and then the smell of perfume, best of the perfume, the taste, best of the food, body in a very cool temperature, all senses are perfect, but you hear a very bad news, your mind is disturbed, right? So therefore we see that mind, there are two kinds. One which is sensory consciousness, other one is mental consciousness too. Now, what meditates? Who thinks I am Dhamma? Is not the sensory consciousness, it's the mental consciousness. So, sensory consciousness is like the one which gives the information to the mental consciousness. It gives them, for example, say I have a nephew, and my nephew is not so smart, right? Not so smart, and then my nephew, because he's not smart, he may be very sincere, but information that I get is from him, and I know that he's not smart, right? So he says that somebody just jokingly tells him that today we have no class the whole day. Somebody jokingly said it, and then my nephew take it very seriously, comes to me and say that today there's no class, right? I will not trust him because he's not smart. So he's the one who gives me information, but who decides? Me, I decide. Likewise, sensory consciousness, they are like my nephew. They give us information. But who decides? My mental consciousness decides. So when your mental consciousness is so developed, right? Sensory consciousness cannot affect the mental consciousness. Right? So your body can be affected. Your body can be affected with the tiger mulling and so forth. That is because your body is weak. Weak because of the content karmas, because of the afflictions, because of the ignorance from the far away. Arrow was shot from far away, now the effect is being felt. If your body is stronger than the tiger's body, the tiger cannot affect you. Even though your body is affected, but when your mind is very refined, your mental consciousness cannot be affected by the tiger's thing. And then if you go even more sophisticated version, say one is the personal liberation seekers and other bodhisattvas. When you reach the bodhisattva path, when you reach the gate, para gate, when you reach that level, tiger mulls, instead of feeling of pain, there's a feeling of bliss coming. And then the tiger affecting, we may see that then the whole body will be eaten up. No. Right? Body will revive. This is something which is, now the mental consciousness affecting the body. That is on a very high level. Right? So these are all the wonderful things that we have to learn. These are so precious. So precious. First we have to learn these things, and then slowly you will discover the power of your mind. Like the radioactive substance, uranium. When it is in its old form, it does not have any, say, the power. But the uranium, when you pick it up and then you clean it, and it's a tremendous power. It can destroy the whole earth. Right? So likewise, our mental consciousness is a tremendous power, but when mixed with the mental developments, it is so weak. When the mental developments are removed, then the power comes up, it can affect the body, rather than the body affecting it. Okay, any more questions? Okay, if not, we'll begin.
Today we will talk about how to develop this.
Or how to deal.
Develop the content, the mental sense.
Yes. So today the main class is on this. Yes. Okay. Now, for this, what we need to know is very quickly about. So basically, today what we're going to study is the entities, isolates, true truths. Entities, isolates, and true truths. Right? Okay. So for this, it will be very auspicious and very meritorious if we learn about what is known as the Rice Seedling Sutra, Buddha Sutra, Rice Seedling Sutra. In Sanskrit, it is Sadhistampa Sutra, rice seedling sutra. So this sutra, how the Buddha taught was that the Buddha along with the disciples, they were walking, taking walk, and they passed through the rice field. They passed through a rice field. And the Buddha stopped there. And the Buddha pointed to the rice seedlings, rice shoot. Buddha pointed to the rice shoot, and the Buddha said the sutra, the following sutras. Well, he said, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma, and whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. Let me say this again. Whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma, and whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. Whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma. Whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. This is the first one. Number 2. Because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. Number 2. And as a part of number 2, because of ignorance, contaminated karmas arise. Because of contaminated karmas, consciousness arise, and so forth. Let me say this again. Whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma, and whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. Number 2. The Buddha said, because this exists, that exists. Because this exists, that exists. And because this is produced, that is produced. Because this exists, that exists. And because this is produced, that is produced. And then finally, because of ignorance, contaminated karmas arise. Because of contaminated karmas, consciousness arise. And then so forth. 12 links. 12. Okay. Then the next, because the ignorance ceases, contaminated karma ceases. Because contaminated karma ceases, ignorance, the consciousness ceases, and so forth. 12 links. You're getting it? I'll explain each one of them now. What's the first one? Whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma, and whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. Okay. Here, whosoever sees dependent origination. So what is saying? Whosoever sees dependent origination. If you see dependent origination, if you realize dependent origination, then you will realize the dharma. Dharma here referring to, there are two connotations. Dharma in the form of Eightfold Noble Path. Eightfold Noble Path. Okay, Eightfold Noble Path, and some interpret this as the dharma in the form of ultimate reality. Ultimate reality. Whosoever sees dependent origination will experience the Eightfold Noble Path or will experience the ultimate reality, because of which one will experience the Buddhahood, one will achieve Buddhahood. This is one. Now the first one, dependent origination. Whosoever sees dependent origination, this dependent origination has 3 levels. That we have to know. Dependent origination has 3 levels. 1, dependent origination. 1, dependent origination of. Did you do that earlier?
Yeah.
Not here. Not here. 3 levels. Huh? Did you do it here? Monash, we did it. Here? No. Okay, so here also we have to do it. Dependent origination, there are 3 levels. Dependent origination of the results dependence on causes. Dependent origination of the results dependence on causes. Number 2, dependent origination of the wholes dependence on the parts. The whole and the parts. Dependent origination of the wholes, W-H-O-L-E, wholes dependence on parts, P-A-R-T-S. Dependent origination of wholes dependence on parts, P-A-R-T-S. Number 3, dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Or mental designation / imputation. Mental designation / imputation. Mental designation, mental imputation. Same. Okay. So 3 levels of dependent origination. Third one, to understand emptiness, you have to understand the third one. The first one is very gross. Second one is relatively subtler. Third one is the subtlest. Only you understand the third level of dependent origination, you understand the emptiness. Right? Okay. Now for your information, first level of dependent origination. First level. What is the first level of dependent origination? Dependent origination of the results dependence on causes. So this dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are synonymous. First level of dependent origination is applicable only to the impermanent phenomena, not to the permanent phenomena. First level. Second and third is applicable to both permanent and impermanent phenomena. This is what we have to know. Okay. Now, the next, the Buddha said, because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. So, and then because of ignorance, contaminant karmas arise, because of which the consciousness arises and so forth. So these 3 are asanga. He called this as what is known as the 3 conditions. 3 conditions of impermanent phenomena. 3 conditions of impermanent phenomena. Okay, 3 conditions. If possible, try to learn these things by knowing the links and the connections and the relevance. 3 conditions. Unwavering condition. Unwavering. Unwavering, not altering. Not altering. Unwavering, what is Hebrew? Unwavering condition, number 1. Unwavering condition, number 1. Number 2, condition of impermanence. Condition of impermanence, number 2. Number 3, the first one is unwavering condition. Number 2 is condition of impermanence. Number 3 is the condition of potentiality. Potentiality slash concomitancy. Concomitancy. Concomitancy is similarity, similar. Concomitancy means similar.
Is it chayvut?